They called it Progress, a billion-dollar renovation that would modernize the station and eliminate unnecessary staff. The janitor was expendable, just an old man with a mop. But sometimes the most ordinary people have the most extraordinary allies, and this janitor was about to discover his. When the demolition notice went up, nobody thought twice about Frank Martinez. He'd been invisible for 35 years, just part of the station's furniture. But what the city council didn't know was that Frank had touched more lives than any politician, any CEO, any headline-making hero. And those lives were about to touch back. This is the story of how one man's quiet kindness became a city's loudest protest. If you believe that ordinary heroes deserve extraordinary support, hit that like button and subscribe, because Frank Martinez is about to teach us all what real influence looks like. Frank Martinez had been part of Central Station's landscape for so long that most people forgot he was human. At 68, with silver hair and weathered hands, he arrived each morning at 5 a.m. and left each evening at 9 p.m., maintaining every corner of the sprawling transportation hub that connected the city to the world. The station was a universe unto itself. 24 platforms, 40 shops, 6 restaurants, and on any given day, 50,000 travelers passing through its marble halls. Frank knew every inch of it, and most importantly, he watched over people who needed watching over. Tuesday morning brought the first lost child Frank had seen all month. 7-year-old Emma Patterson stood crying near platform 12, clutching a stuffed elephant while mourning commuters flowed around her. Frank knelt to her level, took her small hand, and led her to security. But first, he stopped at the station cafe to buy her hot chocolate, sitting with her and telling stories about the trains until her frantic grandmother arrived 30 minutes later. This is the story of how one man's quiet kindness became a city's loudest protest. If you believe that ordinary heroes deserve extraordinary support, hit that like button and subscribe, because Frank Martinez is about to teach us all what real influence looks like. Frank Martinez had been part of Central Station's landscape for so long that most people forgot he was human. At 68, with silver hair and weathered hands, he arrived each morning at 5 a.m. and left each evening at 9 p.m., maintaining every corner of the sprawling transportation hub that connected the city to the world. The station was a universe unto itself. 24 platforms, 40 shops, 6 restaurants, and on any given day, 50,000 travelers passing through its marble halls. Frank knew every inch of it, and most importantly, he watched over people who needed watching over. Tuesday morning brought the first lost child Frank had seen all month. 7-year-old Emma Patterson stood crying near platform 12, clutching a stuffed elephant while mourning commuters flowed around her. Frank knelt to her level, took her small hand, and led her to security. But first, he stopped at the station cafe to buy her hot chocolate, sitting with her and telling stories about the trains until her frantic grandmother arrived 30 minutes later. That same afternoon, Frank noticed an elderly man sitting motionless on a bench for 3 hours, staring at nothing. Frank recognized the signs and sat beside him. Harold Peterson had early-stage dementia and had wandered from a nearby care facility. Frank stayed with Harold for 2 hours, gently gathering information until he could call the facility and reunite Harold with his searching daughter. These weren't unusual days for Frank Martinez. They were every day. In 35 years, he'd reunited hundreds of lost children with families, assisted thousands of confused travelers, helped stranded passengers during snowstorms, and quietly prevented countless small disasters from becoming large ones. Frank kept a mental catalog of regular travelers. Mrs. Chun, who took the 7:15 to visit her husband in hospice care. Frank always ensured Platform 3 was extra clean for her morning wait. The college student who worked 3 jobs and sometimes fell asleep on benches. Frank would gently wake him before security could hassle him. The homeless veteran who sheltered in the station during winter nights. Frank made sure the heat stayed on and occasionally left sandwiches where the man would find them. But progress was coming for Central Station. The announcement came on a Thursday in March. Mayor Rebecca Thornton unveiled plans for a $2 billion station renovation. Digital displays, automated systems, reduced staffing, maximum efficiency. The future of urban transportation meant the human touch was being automated away. Frank learned about his termination through a form letter taped to his locker. After 35 years of service, his position was being restructured for optimal efficiency. His last day would be Friday, June 15th. No ceremony, no recognition, just a final paycheck and thanks for his service. Frank didn't protest. He simply continued his work, knowing each shift brought him closer to the end. He began saying quiet goodbyes to regular travelers who bothered to notice him. But someone was paying attention. Dr. Sarah Chun had been taking the 7:15 train for 12 years, watching Frank work every morning. When she heard about the renovation and staff cuts, she made inquiries. What she discovered amazed her. Frank Martinez wasn't just a janitor. He was the station's unofficial guardian angel. She began asking other regular passengers about their experiences, and the stories revealed a man who'd spent decades making their daily journey safer, easier, more human. Dr. Chin started making phone calls. Judge William Hartley remembered Frank helping him navigate the station 28 years ago when he'd arrived as a young lawyer, new to the city and overwhelmed. Frank had offered directions, carried his briefcase, and somehow sensed this nervous young man needed encouragement as much as information. Chief of Police Maria Santos had her own Frank Martinez story. 15 years earlier, Frank had found her teenage daughter after an assault near the station, called police, stayed with her until Maria arrived, and later testified in the case that put the attacker in prison. He'd never asked for recognition, just did what needed doing. The stories multiplied as word spread. City Councilman David Park remembered Frank helping his elderly father navigate the station during his last months of life. District Attorney Lisa Morrison recalled Frank's assistance during a high-profile case when he provided crucial security footage and witness testimony without being asked. Each person Dr. Chin contacted had similar memories. Frank helping, Frank caring, Frank making their lives better without expecting anything in return. By May, an informal coalition had formed. City leaders who rarely agreed on anything found common ground in protecting the man who'd protected their city for 3 decades. The June 3rd City Council meeting was standing room only. Mayor Thornton expected routine approval of the renovation's final phases. Instead, she faced unprecedented unified opposition from the city's power structure. Judge Hartley spoke first, explaining how Frank had helped a nervous young lawyer find his way 35 years ago. Chief Santos followed, describing Frank as the city's unofficial protector who'd prevented crimes and kept citizens safe every single day. One by one, testimonials painted a picture the city council had never seen. The invisible janitor was revealed as one of the city's most valuable public servants. The most powerful testimony came from Emma Patterson, now 12 years old, who stood at the podium with her grandmother. She'd heard about Frank's situation and remembered the kind janitor who'd helped them 5 years earlier. Emma spoke about how Frank had saved her when she was scared, buying her hot chocolate and telling stories until her grandmother found her. The vote wasn't close. The council voted unanimously to modify the renovation contract, requiring the new management company to retain Frank Martinez as customer care specialist, a position created specifically for him, with a substantial raise and full benefits. When Frank returned to work the following Monday, he discovered the station covered with handmade signs thanking him for 35 years of kindness. Passengers who'd never spoken to him before stopped to shake his hand. Children brought in drawings. Regular travelers organized a celebration in the main hall. The modern central station opened 6 months later, gleaming with technology and efficiency. But its heart remained unchanged. Frank Martinez, now wearing a crisp uniform with customer care specialist embroidered on the pocket, still helping lost children, still assisting confused travelers, still watching over everyone who passed through his domain. The difference was that now everyone could see him. Frank Martinez's story reminds us that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear coveralls and carry mops. They don't seek recognition, they seek to serve. And when good people are threatened, communities can choose to fight for them. If the story moved you, please like and subscribe to Everyday Quiet Heroes. Share it with someone who believes that kindness should be rewarded, not eliminated in the name of progress. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.